I'm Lane Hancock. I'm Senior Marketing Manager at Footnote.com. We're at the Family History Expo in Mesa, Arizona. Today's November 15th, 2008. And I'm sitting here with a very special gentleman by the name of Mr. Stanton Rickey, who stopped by our booth yesterday and had a very interesting story. So we thought we wanted to videotape this interview and just get a little bit more detail about his story. So I guess the first question that I have, and feel free to talk about this for as long as you'd like, how did you first find out about Footnote as it relates to your story?
Actually, I have a German friend who is an avid researcher. He's done a lot of research on aircraft crash sites from World War II. And he sent me a copy of a missing action report, missing aircrew report, dated 1944. And it was something he downloaded on Footnote. And it was all about my personal experience. And that's when I contacted Lane here.
So as far as, and when Mr. Rickey first came to the booth, he said, I was on one of those missing aircraft reports, and my question was, you were on the plane? And he said, yes. When it was shot down, yes, I was the pilot. And I thought that was just an amazing story. So I've also been curious too as to what your mission was and about where you were when you were shot down.
I was a pilot of a B-17 bomber in World War II, 15th Air Force, based in Italy. Our target on the particular day of 18 July 1944 was a place called Memmingen Airdrome in southern Germany, located about halfway between Munich and the Swiss border. 168 B-17s were launched against this particular target, and about 400 B-24s were launched that same day against Friedrichshafen. Fighter escort of P-51s and P-38s were to accompany us. What happened was the weather turned bad. The severe weather over the Adriatic and the Alps caused the 15th Air Force headquarters to send out a recall sign. Most of the Air Force went home. For whatever reason, our fearless leader decided to press on. He challenged the recall sign and made the determination that it may have been a German trick. And we came out of the clouds, headed for the target. Now, as we approached the initial point about 30 miles south of the target, where we opened our bomb bay doors and started to line up for the bomb run, 26 B-17s were attacked by over 200 German fighters, Messerschmitt 109s and Focke-Wulf 190s. It was quite an air battle, and in the process, we shot down 66 of the fighters, and they destroyed 14 of the B-17s. I happened to be one of the unlucky ones. The 12 remaining B-17s went on and bombed the target, and about that time, about 10 straggling P-38s showed up and assisted them. By that time, the Germans, for the most part, were out of ammunition, out of fuel, and nothing much happened. They bombed the target successfully. It was a very significant target, we found out many years later, because they were building the Messerschmitt 262, the first jet fighter in the world, at an underground installation at Memmingen. That's why it was so heavily defended. What happened after I was shot down, I landed in a tree in a forest and had more trouble getting out of that tree I did getting out of the airplane. I evaded capture for 1 week and had several humorous episodes en route. Ended up on the Swiss border and was captured by police and taken to a prison camp where I spent the next 10.5 months.
What was the prison camp that you were at? Do you remember the name?
Stalag Luftwaffe 1, run by the Luftwaffe, and it was located far from the point I was shot down, up on the Baltic Sea in the northernmost part of Germany. I was there for 10.5 months. I might mention that some of my crew members were killed. 5 were killed in my airplane, and 3 were wounded. And of the 5, the plane had a capacity of 10 crewmen manning 13 50 caliber machine guns. That's why it was called the Flying Fortress. Those who were captured immediately had a different story to tell. We were eventually reunited, and my bombardier, for instance, said he was taken back to the site of my airplane, and he saw gasoline trickling out, and he tried to warn the Germans that they shouldn't be messing around in there. They were trying to salvage what they could. About that time, the German officer who had captured him put him in a motorcycle sidecar, drove over the hill, and he heard the airplane explode. Therefore, it was pretty much in pieces when my good friend Ludwig Hauber, who investigates these crash sites, determined that this was the precise location. All he could find were little bits and pieces.
So what year was it that Ludwig actually found the crash site later on? How long ago was that happened?
Ludwig found this about 3 years ago, and he contacted me about 2 years ago. He found a rusty old machine gun with a serial number on it, and he took that serial number, communicated to a friend of his in Munich, another German researcher who had database with 3,000 crash sites information, and he was able to equate the serial number of that particular machine gun to the serial number of my airplane. He knew that the 483rd Bomb Group was the one involved in the air battle. He contacted our publicity director of our Veterans Association, and then he was able to determine that was my airplane. He contacted me. We've been in touch ever since. And Ludwig, I deem Ludwig a very close friend. He sent me many parts from the debris. He visited me in Arizona 2 years ago, for instance, and he brought 30 pounds of parts in his luggage in a mangled condition and so on. I might show you this ring.
Okay.
This particular ring was something that he sent me recently, and it was fashioned from a 50 caliber shell casing that came from my airplane. Now this is what a 50 caliber shell casing looks like. And if you see the top of it here is where they cut off and they polished, and he inscribed the tail number of my airplane on there. And on the top of it, it says SL-43. What that means is this was manufactured in St. Louis Arsenal in 1943. So it's a real relic.
Yeah, that's great.
That's what a 50 caliber bullet looks like.
That would definitely do some damage.
Yeah.
I can see that. Well, I'm glad that you survived the whole thing. And Ludwig, after he'd found the crash site and had gotten in contact with you, apparently he found Footnote in some way and found the missing aircrew reports that we have from World War II, and found your information. And when Mr. Ricky came by the booth and said that he was in them, we looked up the missing aircrew report and actually found his signature at the bottom of one of the pages. And I don't think, did you remember having signed that report or not?
I really did not. That took place about a year and a half after the event.
After the event?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it was an amazing thing, and we just wanted to make sure that other people heard about this wonderful connection. We're very grateful that you survived that ordeal and that we have some records to prove it.